Hey, peace. It's Sister Alexis of Divine Notary. I wanted to do another video today because I've had a lot of questions from the interview that I did with Hatchett. I was Student of the Week because of my notary success, and I wanted to share it with you all. I've had some WhatsApp messages, Instagram, wherever you can find me. I've had messages about the notary experience, and I figure you could either hire me as a notary mentor, or I can do a video with all the questions that people have asked me thus far. So I figure let's start with the video. So, why did I become a notary? I became a notary because it's actually been in my family for a long time. My mother and my brother's girlfriend started a property management business in 2000 in upstate New York, and that generally started the whole process for all of us. I dragged my feet for a lot of years because they weren't doing mobile notary, and I'm not really sure if mobile notary was even very popular around that time. They were buying houses and having all different types of investments, and it just made sense for them to have the license. In New York in particular, that test is hard. So anyone who is in New York and you have passed your notary license, whoop whoop, big ups to you, because I took it twice and failed. I can say that I didn't study at all when I first took it. Because the way I study is taking a test first. That's how I study. And then I'm like, okay, now I know what's on it. Now I'll go back. So I took both tests in the same day, back to back. It was like one at 12 and one at 3. And yeah, I failed both. But I figured, well, I could just try, and then I moved to another state, and I just didn't do it. Now I'm in Maryland, and I didn't have to take a test. I just had to do an application. And I did try to start it when I lived in Connecticut. It's a take-home test. So within the application, they ask you several questions. You have to get 100%, and then you send it in. But never did it. And like I said, I dragged my feet, and now I'm in Maryland, and there wasn't a test, and that's not why I decided to do it, because it was just time. And then once I met Hatchett, I was like looking at all his results and all the people, and I was like, I really should do this, because extra money ain't never hurt nobody. So I should really get on this. And I told my mother first, who, like I said, had been a notary for years in New York, lives in Delaware now, and she wasn't a notary here. And when I told her, I said, hey, look, Ma, Hatchett, he's doing this, and he said, X, Y, and Z, if we can get in it, it'll be extra money for us. And so when she did it first and I watched her progress, I was like, okay, let me get my stuff together. And so that's what led me to this point. And this is why that's why I became a notary. And you'll see me looking back and forth. So pardon me, because I'm looking at my laptop. And what type of notary am I? So I consider myself a real estate notary or notary signing agent. That's what you will be referred to a lot of the time. And what that basically entails is I deal with mostly real estate transactions, refinances, home improvement loans, VA loans, all types of things of that nature. And first-time home buyers. It's really exciting. It's really exciting for me. One reason is not that I'm ultra nosy, but I like to look at people's incomes because it gives me motivation. One time I went to a signing, I went to a closing, and the couple, one was they actually made the same amount, husband and wife, in the pharmaceutical company. No judgment. And they both were making $10,500 per month. And I thought, oh my gosh. So I've seen a lot of different incomes, and it's nice to see how people live. It's just like, wow, you make, $21,000 a month and you're a very modest spender. I really like that. And so it's a great model for me. And so, that is some of the reasons why I became a notary, and what type of jobs, in addition to the real estate notary, you can do other jobs. You don't just have to do notary stuff, and you never know what you're going to get, especially if you're on a directory of some sort. So I've signed power of attorney documents for people. I've signed school documents for people. I've signed what else have I signed? Travel documents for people. Different health forms, agreements, contracts for people, all different types of things I've acknowledged for people. And so what do? We acknowledge paperwork. We acknowledge signatures. After you got your commission, what did I do first? So after I got my commission, you'll see me squinting too, because my glasses give a reflection and it just doesn't work. So I'm not using the glasses, but I want to stay on track with my questions because I could talk to you about all different types of things. And I don't want to do that. I want to stay focused on it. So what did I do? So after I got my commission and I was sworn in, I shouted for joy, jumped for joy. I was very happy. I was like, finally, after so many years, for whatever reason it took me so long, I finally did it and it felt good. So after you jump for joy, I ordered my stamps. I was kind of surprised at the cost of the stamps, but that's just because I'm frugal. But it's not a big deal. The stamps range from like $25 to like $50, depending on what kind of stamp you want. And I would suggest that you take Andre Hatchett's course on this, because my mom, like I said, because my mother started before I did, we found out that the seal is not a good idea to use during documents, especially if you have to scan them in. They don't scan properly. So having the stamp, the ink stamp, is a better option. And I'm sure Andre Hatchett talks about that in his notary school. So you might want to consider that. So after I ordered my stamps, I downloaded the notary law book. And so I downloaded that and I printed it, and I keep a folder with my notary journal and the notary laws in there. And so my battery is going to, oh, okay, we're good. And so I carry that in a folder with me along with my commission and my insurance. And I should have brought that to show you. So that brings me to the next one. The other thing I did after that is got insurance and bond. You can find that very easily on any website for the notary. If you really want to know what insurance and bonding I have, you can send me a message and I can share that information with you. And after I did that, I ordered my business cards. If you want to get a phone number specifically for that, you can do that. You can do it through Google Voice. You can do it through Grasshopper. You can, I think it's Grasshopper, right? And then you could do your website or not. I have a website. I have a WordPress, honestly. I didn't want to spend money on it until I received money. And at this point, I can definitely pay for a .com. I just haven't done it because I really don't know. I don't feel a need to, honestly. Depends on the need you feel. Andre suggests that you do have it, but he doesn't shun it if you do have just a WordPress. And then the big one, I ordered my equipment. So what do you need? At first, I used my mom's equipment because she had an industrial printer, because she already has an existing business where they have to print a lot. And so I ordered a printer. I ordered a refurbished commercial printer, not like one of those big jump offs that are like in Staples and stuff like that, but one that prints like 21 pages per minute. Because when you have multiple jobs in a day, like for instance, the most jobs I had in a day rate was like 6 or 7. And so when you're coming back and forth at home, because sometimes they take a long time to send you the documents, and you might have to print the documents like an hour before your appointment. And you need to know that your machine is going to work. There was a time where I ordered my machine and then my printer was not working. And at first I stopped doing jobs, and then I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. So I went to the print shop and I would just calculate. So before I accepted a job, I would be like, okay, so this job is going to give me $175. It's going to cost me $30 to print. So just as long as you have the money in advance, then you just got to take one for the team. It cuts out your profit, but you're still getting money because you want to keep the flow going. You want the momentum to happen, especially as a new notary. So if you look at this video and you're like, I don't have a printer, don't let that stop you. Go to Staples, go to any print shop and just print your documents off. It's fine. It's perfectly fine until you get your money. And then once you start getting your money, go ahead and pay for a printer. So that printer cost me like a little under $300. And what I decided to do is, after I bought the printer, I also bought a case of ink toner. I did not want to have to worry about that. That's the worst thing in the world, where you have all your equipment, but you don't have any ink. So don't let that stop you. If you have it, tax season is coming around. For those who get a tax return, whether you're supposed to be getting one or not, if you're getting one, utilize it and go ahead and order yourself a case of your printer, a case of ink, and a case of legal paper, and a case of regular 8.5 by 11 paper. Don't hesitate. It did take me a little while because I did shop around. Like I said, I am frugal. I want a bargain. I don't like to feel gypped. I'm a wholesaler by nature, just based on the businesses that I've had in the past. So research the best deal before you just buy any paper, because the paper it's not cheap. Like when you're talking about like $50 for a case of paper, make sure you research to find the best deal. And where did I go? I definitely ordered it online. I don't remember, but if you really want to know, reach out to me and I can put it in the comments. And what else did I do after you got your website, your paper, your printer? And then at this point, if you're ready to roll and you still have a lot of questions, honestly, take Andre's course. Take Andre's course, because you will have a lot more questions as you start to get in those jobs. The acknowledgments, the jurats, they are simple, but not at the same time. It's very easy to make a mistake. On my first job, I made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes, but it's easy to correct them. And if you're not sure, what I did was, I remember the night before, I printed it out and I looked at every single page. And now we're talking about 150 pages generally per job. It can range depending on what it was, but it was a refinance. And so I looked at every single page, then I Googled, and then I text Andre, and then I looked back at the coursework, and, and still made mistakes. So some of it is just, as you practice, you get better, but the course will help. So when I first started, I did not take Andre's course. It wasn't until a little later, until I started getting jobs, and I was like, and my mother too. There was sometimes she made a mistake, and they won't pay you if it's your mistake and you have to go back. So some jobs, it's their mistake, and then they pay you another fee to go back out. But if it's your mistake, you go back on your dime, your dollar, your time. So consider that. Save yourself. Don't think, oh, well, I don't have X amount of money to take the course. In the long run, it will save you. It will save you time. It will save you money. So don't hesitate on doing that. And then so from there, it was just like, how do you get clients? So you have the tedious work that you have to do. Don't even ask me what happened. So you have the tedious work of, I know you saw that again. Don't worry about it. You have the tedious work of trying to find clients. And it's really simple. And Andre talks about it on free information on YouTube, but his course also talks about that too. So 123 Notary, Notary Cafe, your Google listing, if you have a location, Yelp, You just take your time. You find out I'm always about free first. So you find out about all the free information listings first. You do all the free listings first. Once you print them out and you check them one by one. If you have a teenager, have your teenager help you. Why not? This is for them anyway. Check them off one by one, and sign yourself up to each of these listings. It is the boring work, but at the end of the day, you will be so grateful that you did that. Some of them you have to pay for, and that's okay too. You just decide which one you want to pay for. If you are going to pay for something, you're not exactly sure if it's worth it, let me know, and I can tell you my experience from it, and you could decide from there about what you want to do and what you want to spend or not spend. So that was really helpful for me. So all of those really worked, as well as change all your profiles. Let everyone know you're a notary. Hand out your card wherever you go. I spent like a week of going to every bulletin board in the libraries, my bank that I have my account, as well as the post office, and letting all of them know that I was a notary. And let me tell you, that was really helpful too. My bank calls me anytime she refers me, because if you're not a customer of them, and they also don't do real estate. Most banks don't do real estate. So if you're a customer of theirs, they are happy to refer you. It's not a problem. But if the patron comes in is not a customer of theirs, sometimes they won't notarize their stuff. And so that's where you come in handy. Also, let the school systems know that you're a notary. And the Board of Education, they probably already have one, but in the schools itself, if your child, so I have 3 children going to 3 separate entities. So I just let them all know what I do, and that has helped me too. So they will refer me to different families and to sign documents, mostly for like, my child is staying with so and so and things of that nature. So that always helps. Go to nursing homes as well, and let whoever you need to know, human resources, the director, the liaison, and let them know that you're a local notary, and that will be beneficial for you as well. So those are all the different ways that I was able to get clients. And the other question that I get is there any money in that? People always say that. Is there any money? Last time I went, I only gave her $3. We're notary signing agents. We're real estate notaries. It's definitely a lot of money in there. You can range anywhere from, I have ranged anywhere from $50 to $200 so far. And that's because of the area that I'm in. I'm on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, very different from like Andre, who is like in Yonkers and near New York City, and very, very different. I think the top jobs that he gets is like $275 per appointment. And so the appointments can last anywhere between, next week I actually have an appointment. Monday or Tuesday I have an appointment, and it's literally they're signing 3 pieces of paperwork. I am notarizing 1 piece of paperwork, 3 signatures, in and out. I'm done. That's going to be $150. So it is definitely possible. It is sometimes few and far between depending on your area. Like I said, I am on the Eastern Shore. It is slow right now. But in the summer, it was booming. It was, to get 15 to 20 jobs a month was easy. But now I'm not averaging that. So you have to have another plan. You have to have another plan. You have to have another plan. That cannot be your main source of income. If you are in an area that is not as busy, metropolitan area, you have to have another plan. Did I say you have to have another plan? You have to have another plan. I am a firm believer of multiple streams of income. And sometimes when you're starting off, you never know what's going to work. You just never know. Everything is trial and error. With the formula that works for one person may not work for you, because all of the characteristics don't look the same. So I'm finding that out now, but it's okay. It's okay. There's other areas of this business that you can take it. As I mentioned, everything, the real estate, the nursing home, the health directives, things of that nature. The other area that I'd like to go into is immigration. So you can be an immigration specialist. Not every state offers that. It is more money, but it's okay because at the end of the day, it will all work out and it all pays off. And some of the other question was how longer appointments, and I just answered that. So it really does range. And when you first start off, I was so nervous. My first appointment, and I was like shaking, and I just was really nervous. Don't ask me why, I just was. And it's weird for me to go in other people's houses, and you do have to do that. If you're not comfortable with that, you meet them in um a public place. So sometimes I meet people in the library. That's generally, or I'll meet them in FedEx. Like if I know I have to ship something off anyway, I just meet them in FedEx and they don't mind. That's the other place that you also want to let people know. I've gotten jobs just from sitting in there, like getting my paperwork together to send off, and they're like, "Hey, Alexis, this person needs a notary." UPS in my area does have a notary, but FedEx does not have notaries anymore. It's not part of their business model for the state of Maryland, or on the Eastern Shore, I should say. So when you first start off, I think my first appointment took me like 3 hours. It's not supposed to take that long. And then you shy back. You will meet people where they want you to read everything, and that's really not your job. Their lender in the title company, the escrow folks, all of them, that's their job to explain what's going on, because as a notary, that's not in my job description. My job description is to execute the paperwork. I am not a legal advisor. I am not legally obligated to do that information, to share that information or break down anything that the paperwork is saying. If it doesn't say it on the paperwork, and if you have a question, then you generally will stop the appointment and they will call their contact information, or you will call your contact information before you leave the table. You don't want to get yourself in trouble. Don't go through it. Don't delve into it. Don't talk about what something means, because you never know how it can come back on you. So those are generally the questions that I've been getting asked about this job. And one thing that I will say, sometimes I do have nighttime appointments. I charge more for those appointments, and yes, I do carry mace. If you feel uncomfortable about that, you need some of these jobs will call you when you get to your appointment, and call you when they think you should have finished, to make sure you're gone, and everything worked out all right. If you feel uncomfortable about that, you will start to get comfortable with it, but there's a tracking system that you can share with a family member or someone close, your husband, or your wife, just so he or she knows where you are throughout the process. And I know, like with an iPhone, you can send your location during appointments, and so it's really easy. Sometimes I do find out from clients if they have pets in advance, because I just find out if you have any allergies. That's important. Also, if sometimes I will send the documents in advance to the client so they can take a look at it. And so when I get there, they're like, okay, I already went through it, and all they do is sign. And I think that's it. So if you have any other questions, feel free to put it in the comments section, or you can find me on my Facebook, Divine Notary. You can find me on my Instagram on Divine Notary as well, DIVINE Notary. And I'm all over the place. Sister Alexis Carter, you can always find me, and I will be happy to answer your question. I do have a mentoring program for new notaries, and so does Andre Hatchett. His school is awesome, awesome, awesome. And once you sign up to the school, you also get privy to a Facebook group. He's been doing it for like 12 years, so he has a tried and proven system that really works for him. And I have just I haven't been in it as long, but I'm very committed to it, and I'm knee deep in this process, and I'm really loving it. So I would be happy to help anyone during that process, especially single moms, man. As a single mom, this has been so beneficial to me. If I have to leave for a little bit, it's only an hour or two. I leave for a little bit and I'm right back. And I do 1 or 2 appointments. I've made, $400 in a day. If you, to some people that might not be a lot, but for someone who's working like a little above average, above minimum wage job, sorry, you could really be making a lot more and spending way less time. And that way you can give to your own personal goals and to your children. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Peace and love, y'all.